You're listening to Empty Nexters, a podcast about finding joy, beauty, and wonder in the next season of life. What's your next? Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Empty Nexter podcast. I'm your host, Shelly, and I have in the studio with me today, that's right, my girlfriend, Miss Kelly.
Whoop, whoop.
Kelly did an amazing episode called Finding Calm in My Next, and if you have not listened to it, I encourage you to go listen to it. I still get feedback from different women who the phrase white calendar days has revolutionized their life, and I still think about those days like every day. A white calendar day. What was that again, Kelly? It was a day that we did what?
Nothing.
What?
Nothing that you did not want to do.
It was all about you and what you wanted to do. And it's very freeing to do that.
It is.
I know. So with that being said, we are going to talk about something that hits really close to home for some of us. Kelly made a statement the last time that she was on here with her Calm in My Next episode. And the statement was basically how she navigated in the sandwich generation. And I kind of went, what? I'd never heard that phrase before. It's a new phrase. So I thought it'd be interesting. We sat and talked about what was the sandwich generation. And she said the sandwich generation basically...
Well, it's when you get ready for your kids to leave, which inevitably happens to all of us, and you're thinking you're going to be in this empty nest season, and you turn your eyes and you see your parents are aging.
Right.
And they now require more help from you.
Yeah.
And nobody really warned us about that. And not all of us are in that situation. Some of us, our parents died young, or they're very, very healthy. Some of us, our children have to stay home longer for other reasons. But a lot of us can understand one or all parts of this because it happens.
Absolutely. And so I just thought it would be interesting. And we were sitting around kicking around the idea of what to call it. And we decided to call it Attitudes and Hearing Aids. So let's dive in. You probably know where we're going. You know, the attitude tends to be from the teenage years and on. The hearing aids is literally where I just took my mom 2 weeks ago so she can now hear better. So
yay.
It's a legit thing, right?
It is a legit thing. It's very true. You know, our children, they go off to college, they move out, whatever, and they're so excited to take on the world. And we're sitting here watching them, tears streaming down our face, looking at them as their 4-year-old selves, their 8-year-old selves, and we're like, oh my gosh. And some of us, including myself, made a mistake of making that my entire identity. And so it really puts that question into what's the next season going to be. So when my daughter went off to college, she was my last one, and I was sad. I grieved. Then I started getting excited. Okay, now it's time for Scott and me to get busy doing our thing in our next season. Right at that same time, my mother's health and my stepdad's health plummeted. He had a really bad accident. He was 17 years older than my mother, and he always could take care of himself, and even her, because her health was worse. But once he had that accident, I then had to start taking him to doctor visits and eventually moving them into a transitional home, meaning they started in an independent home, and then I moved them into assisted living. I moved them 3 times in 7 years.
Wow, that's a lot.
Once during COVID, and they only allowed 2 of us to do it. Luckily, at the last minute, they allowed my, at that time, 78-year-old uncle, who was a rock star, help us move them in a 12-hour period.
Wow.
But I learned so much in moving them. The biggest thing I learned is I did not start with compassion.
Oh, wow.
And it breaks my heart to look back at that. But they also, in my defense, did not start with willingness.
Wow.
And I can remember the first time I moved them from a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. Neither was health-wise able to help me. And I had a girlfriend who went and helped me pretty regularly. Thank you, Kim. And we would go and we would pack things up. And the next day I would come back and they will have pulled the stuff out. We're not ready for that to be packed. Oh, okay. When are we supposed to pack it?
Wow.
So it was quite frustrating. At times I turned into my 12-year-old self, being fussed at by my mother. But I learned a lot in that we right now need to be downsizing our houses.
Oh my goodness. So see, that's the stuff you learned is why we're here today, because I think a lot of us don't even go there in our mind. Just the word sandwich generation alone, when I think of a sandwich, you got the bread, and then between the bread is going to be some kind of something.
Yeah.
That's where we are.
Yeah.
And watching you, I've had a front row seat to watching you, transition your daughter into college, into marriage, and then your son leaving, and then the whole journey with your parents. Now, my parents are still here, but what I would like you to do is tell our Nexter community, how did you move from the interruption with no compassion to at the end, God totally, because I saw God help you through every time. And it was probably all you had to give, even when you didn't feel like it. You laid your life down constantly. What was the shift in you, and how did you get to that point?
Well, the biggest thing is I took the word of God literally. And the word of God says, honor your parents. Now, with that said, I am a firm believer in acknowledging that looks different for every single person. Right. And we are not ever to judge how someone honors their parents.
Good.
There's a lot of backstory that we don't know, because the word of God also says in Colossians and Ephesians for parents not to provoke their children.
Right.
So we can't judge what that honor looks like.
That's good.
For me, though, God just constantly reminded me of that, and I made it my life's mission for that 7-8 years. So by the third time I moved my mother, we moved her into assisted living. They could no longer live independently. They were in the same nursing home. I say nursing home, again, transitional home, in South Georgia, where my great-grandmother had been, then my grandfather. Wow. And I had 2 aunts down there and uncle who helped me tremendously. By the third time I moved them, I woke up that morning and I said, I'm doing it different. So they opened the door and I said, hi, I'm Julie from the Love Boat. We are going on excursions today.
I love it.
And so I pretended like I was this cruise ship director who was going to take them on all these excursions. They had to go get shots to go into the main facility. We had to go change their pharmacy, go change some banking information. So each one was an excursion. And I just decided to be Joy. My mother looked at me like I had lost my mind, and then she decided to play. And it was so much different than the first time.
Wow.
So I was very happy that God had given me something to make her happy, because I realized with each time they did this, there were independences, rights, things that they had always done that they were having to relinquish. And it's a mental battle that I did not understand in the beginning, to have that compassion.
Right.
Taking my stepdad's driver's license away, or driving privileges, I should say. It was a safety thing, much needed, and a battle. But there's also a compassion, knowing he's giving up a huge part of his life that he enjoyed.
Right, yeah.
And being able to go get ice cream, or going to do, something on a whim that he can no longer do anymore. Right. So, helping your parents, if you can get that wisdom earlier, it's a much more beautiful way of doing it than just stripping them of it, because we all know it's necessary. And the fact of the matter is, we all know that it's going to be us one day. So why not sow that seed of compassion?
That is so good. My story with my parents, they rented a house from us.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. And so about 3 years ago, my husband said, hey, I think it's time to sell that house. Well, my parents just assumed they would pass from that house. That would be their last place.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And so I had to call my mom. She literally cried on the phone.
Oh,
It broke my heart. But she'd had some episodes where it wasn't safe for her to be there without my dad there. And my dad was one of these kind of drives anywhere on a whim, wants to go to the bank, the Walmart, all the things. I just said the Walmart. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. But so it just, my heart was overwhelmed with grief to pull that independence from them.
Yeah.
However, fast forward to September will be 3 years. They now have a safe, apartment that is attached to my brother and his wife, and they're independently dependent, yet they love it.
I love it.
And
They're
so
thriving.
They're thriving. So you can't just look at it, the bump you get that first, second, third
That's
time.
right.
You have to just be mindful that they might not understand it. Just like with our kids, they don't understand why we're doing it, but in the long run, it's for their good.
That's right.
And that's hard to resonate in my brain
It
sometimes.
is.
Yeah.
It is. It's very hard. And, a lot of that generation is strong, very strong-willed, out of necessity.
Right.
They saw things we never saw, and they had that tough skin.
Right.
And so it's relinquishing that independence.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hard thing. But then my father got sick in the middle of that too. And and when I asked my mother to move closer to me, she moved 2.5 hours away. So now I'm not just going, a county over. I'm going 2.5 hours away to go back and forth with her and my stepdad. My father was 5.5 hours away. He gets really sick, and then he passes. So his wife had passed about 4 months before him, and my sister-in-law, who was amazing, she and I cleaned out some of his wife's stuff. So when he died, all 4 of my siblings, me and my 3 other siblings, were there. And my sister-in-law, the day of the funeral, she said, "We'll never be together again. Let's clean out." So we cleaned out the house the best of our ability. She did estate sales, so we knew she was going to be able to sell some stuff with her company. And then we go outside to the first shed. At the time, I did not know that was the first shed.
The first shed, that's scary.
My dad was a hoarder. He loved to buy stuff thinking he was going to sell it at a yard sale.
I love that.
Come to find out, there are 4 sheds full of stuff behind the first shed that I never knew every time I visited that it was just ongoing. So we rented a dumpster and threw a lot of stuff away. At that time, I had moved my mother twice. So that's when I decided I'm going to start downsizing my house now. And I went through every single room of my house once my father died. I touched everything in my house. The things that you like, that you go, "Oh yeah, that's back there. I know that's back there. I'll use it one day." I made myself touch it. And I decided, do I use it or do I love it? If not, it goes.
That's good. That's good. So you learned that just from experience doing it with your folks.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, both of my people had a ton of things.
Yeah.
Some wonderful things. Some, my mother had this angel that got broken in one of the moves. It was probably a $20 Kirkland angel. We broke it on accident. My mother loved things, sadly over people sometimes. That little angel had its head taped. Let's get rid of the taped head angel. No need to have a taped head angel. So I went through my house. I took all of my pictures. I divvied them up between my 2 children, a few for me. I took pictures of things that I really wanted to keep forever, but I really knew there was no need to keep forever. So a picture could be the memory of that thing that I really didn't need to house anymore.
Wow.
I made, in the box of all my children's pictures, back in the, mid-90s, we all got into the creative memories for a minute.
Yeah.
I had done that for 2 years.
Yes.
And then I stop and I keep all the supplies and all the books, and I'm going to do it again. Well, here we are, and at this point, 2023, and it's all sitting there. So I released myself of that, and I just bought little boxes, and I put them in as best of chronological order as I could, with a cute little index card that I got at the Dollar Tree with a little snippet of what I could remember about that event, and I housed them like that. And then I wrote a card to each of my children in their Rubbermaid box, and just to kind of close it up. And they're in a big Rubbermaid box ready for my children to come get.
I love that. Did that make you feel, did it unburden you a little bit?
It did.
The clutter of...
It did.
Yeah.
It released me from that thing in my head where I was going to go back and make them the best possible books for each and every event they ever had.
Right.
I'm not going to do that. I don't have time. I don't have the desire to do that anymore. Yeah. So I did it to the best of my ability, knowing if something happened to me today, they could pick up that box and go.
And so it's what I'm hearing you say too. It helped you process letting go.
Yes.
It just helped you flesh it out. So I think a lot of it too is we need to encourage people. It's a process. You're not going to do it overnight.
No.
And it's I noticed the generation today. I know we say that a lot. Kids these days, they don't value pictures like I did. Like, I have pictures on my walls. I'm crazy about photos every occasion. I'm like, okay, kids, we're taking the family picture. And they roll their eye. I don't want to do. I'm like, I need it. One day when I'm not here, you're going to look back in your memory and go, oh, Mom. And then maybe you'll want to pick that up. But it's just a different.
It is so different. On that note, I'm going to throw this in real quick. I have a good friend, Jenny, and she says the same thing. She talks about, we want that family picture when we're in with everybody. Yeah. And the kids are like, or even sometimes the husband, like, how many do we need? And she said she was at church this past Mother's Day, and they had this wonderful setup for photos. And all of her kids and her family decided they'd do it. And she said she looked at it and she said, I wish we would have been scooched in a little bit more. And she thought, every one of us mothers want that. So from now on, when a mom says, do you mind grabbing a picture? She said, I'm going to make it my job to go make sure everybody's looking at the camera, everybody's scooched in just right, because we don't get that many pictures of all of us together.
We really don't.
And I thought, that's so true. So get one really good one.
Yeah.
So, but yes, that helped me let go of things. It helped me. This sounds morbid, and I don't mean it morbid at all. It helped me get my house ready for if something happened to me tomorrow, my children could walk in and say, good job, Mom, not good grief, Mom. Right. You left all this for me to do.
Right. That's good.
Because an accident can happen. And I won't be able to help clean up. I won't be able to help downsize, or I could die. And I don't mean that morbidly, but that's life. I don't want my kids to come in and go, wow, thanks for the burden you left us. Because all the stuff I love doesn't mean it's going to be all the stuff they love.
That's so true. I've realized that, like old dishes that my grandmother had, and I'm like, hey, do you want? And they're like, no, Mom, I really don't. And it hurts your heart there for a second, but then you realize it's okay.
It is okay.
What I valued is not necessarily what they're, and my daughter, her decor is totally different than mine. And yet I know she still holds on to, there's things on her walls that remind her of her childhood. And I have to just be okay with that. I can't get my feelings hurt. And see, that's what I find as moms too, is sometimes when we see our kids going down such a different way of doing things, even as parenting.
Yes.
It's like, of course, I don't have grandkids yet, but I'm hoping to one day. But just seeing that, even young women today go, wow, I would never do it that way. I've got to be okay with that.
That's right.
And so I think a lot of it too is the decluttering thing. That seems to be the catchphrase too, like declutter your closet and declutter your mind and all that. But I think I had to do that with my parents. I had to go over and just clean out everything. And then I had to really be mindful to not just be like, I had to sit down with my mother with everything.
Yes.
And give her the time that I would want if my kids were doing that with me.
Because some of us do hold a sentimental value to something. There are things in my house that you can point to that might be ridiculous, and I can say, my Aunt Gretchen gave me that when I was 8 years old.
Right.
My Aunt Candy gave me that when I was 11. And it may not mean anything to anybody else, But to me, my mother was the same way. Everything held a value to her. And so there has to be compassion and grace in that. But then there also has to be reality that we don't need everything. And you're right. Our kids, my son doesn't like antiques at all. My daughter, she does like them. But does that mean she's going to want every antique in my house? She's not going to have the house to space my stuff and her stuff.
Right.
So it can't be a personal thing.
Yeah. I remember when we were moving my mom, and I was talking to her. She's 86 now, and she doesn't go anywhere much. She goes to church or a family event or a wedding here and there.
Your mom is a rock star.
My mom's adorable.
I love your mom.
I finally had to just go, Mommy, why do you need that many dresses?
Why
do you? But I'm downsizing my closet now. Like if I could live my life in just yoga pants and tank tops, I would.
Come on.
Everything comfortable. However, I'm like, Mama, you just really need, because their closet is so small, but getting her to kind of like make that connection in her, it was hard. But then she finally realized, you're right, I really don't need all that. Like I can wear that same dress to a couple different events. And, with my situation, with my parents still living, it's a whole different journey for me. With now doing what you did, I'm now on my chart with them. I get every reminder about everything, and they go to the doctor a lot. And they need me to help them think through stuff. Although my sister-in-law, Tammy, you are a rock star. She manages their life.
I love that.
I love that. And it's so needed. It takes a village.
It does. I love that because, my little brother lives up in Virginia. So he wasn't able to help me through this. He did take my call every time I called to vent, but geographically, it was me.
It's all you, baby.
And it's, I still take care of my stepdad. And I don't have to go nearly as much as when my mother was alive, but I just went down last week. And that brings me to another point. We need to make sure we're the power of attorney, that somebody's the power of attorney, that we have access, that they help us get access to their medical records, banking information, if there's a child that they trust. And with that said, if there are more than one
children's
more than one children's, when you are on a bank account, that goes to the child who is on that bank account.
Right.
When you are listed on an insurance policy, that goes to who's listed on the insurance policy. That supersedes the will. So if things are to be, quote, split, we had bank accounts with my father to be split. You have to make sure that the person listed on there is going to do what the parent listed as their wish.
Yeah, that is so good. And have you had the conversation with your adult children about things?
To some degree. They don't, I got a little morbid when my parents were sick and dying because that was my reality.
Right, yeah.
And, when you're looking at your own parents and you're not there, that's a lot for a child to take. I lost my very good friend Angela. Then both my parents got very sick, so death was a reality for me for about 10 years. And my kids were like, okay, Mom, let's not talk about death. Yeah. So to some degree, I have talked to them, but I didn't want to go as deep as where I was.
Yeah, my kids. I think the reality I'm at now is my aging parent. I realize it's almost like I'm going up a step. When my parents pass, that means my siblings and me are the next.
That's right.
And so my kids look at me like, oh, and I do have the conversation. They never want to talk about it.
Yeah, it's hard.
You don't want to connect the fact that
could it be
your parents are getting older. Hey guys, we need to sit down and talk. Here's where everything is. Here's the will. Here's what I want to have done when I pass. I mean, it's those conversations are hard, but they're they're needed.
They are needed.
I've had it with my parents. I finally sat down as siblings and did all the banking, did all the POA, all the things. And it's never easy, but it's necessary.
It is. I mean, even, so many people are cremated today.
Right.
Do you want to be buried? Do you want to be cremated? I want to honor my parents' wishes.
That's true. Yeah. But it's never fun. My kids always like, Mom. And then, always throw in there, I'm not going to be here one day. You're going to wish I had made you take these. Oh, Mom, why are you going to throw the guilt thing at me? Because the reality is I won't.
That's right.
I won't be here one day.
And we're not promised tomorrow.
That's true.
I mean, we're in our 50s.
Right.
Hopefully we still have a very long, abundant life.
Absolutely. Yeah. But those conversations are hard, but they're necessary. My thing too with my parents is it's just been such a hard thing the past, like when my mom turned 80, like from 70 to 80,
there's
I
a big
saw
shift.
the shift in her. Yeah. And it's like, I feel like I'm her mom now.
Yeah.
Did you feel that way?
Yes, very much so. And even like my stepdad, he will never listen to this, so I can say this, who is the most strong-willed, at times baby that I have ever encountered. So I have to be very careful with how I push, but I have to push.
Yeah,
He's coughing right now. So I have to say, Jim, can I call the doctor? Because I am POA, but I still try to grant that compassion and to allow him to have the independence and not supersede him. But yeah, I mean, I hear his cough, I hear that rattle, and I'm like, okay, I've got to step in and take care of him.
Wow, that's so good.
Yeah, so it is a shift. And again, I wish for anybody who's just starting the shift, the biggest thing I can tell you, it's almost like a parent with a child. People told me, be more patient. The time goes fast. I wish I could have heeded it. Sometimes you don't even have the power to heed it because it's unknown. But if you can have that compassion with your parents, learn it now.
When you just said that I just had a young couple over and they had a 18-month-old running around the house. And David out of nowhere just almost, he didn't get like emotional, but he just said, just cherish every moment because the time does go by fast when they're little. So when you just said cherish every moment when you're on this end.
Yeah.
Now you're watching your parents get older, and while they may frustrate you because they're what you saw as these vibrant, healthy, strong, independent people are now deteriorating in their mental capacity, their physical capacity, and it's causing you to get frustrated because I'm living my life to the fullest, and we are in the middle. We've got the young ones that still pull on us, whether they're adults or not.
That's right.
But then you've got your parents that need you. Like, I now call my mother every single day.
I love that, Shelley.
I mean, every single morning, sometimes several times. And if the phone rings, and it might be in the most inconvenient moment.
You answer it.
Because mothers call at the most inconvenient moment. Don't we all know that? I will answer because
that's right.
I in my mind think, what if that's the last conversation? And
that's right.
And I don't want to sound, she's touching our heartstrings. Good, because you will regret it.
That's right.
Because I'm so busy. My mom's annoying me. My mom's bugging me. But I hear people all the time say, if I could just hear her voice one more time or talk to my dad one more time.
I wish. And before my mother died, and my mother was not a talker. Most of the things I've gathered about her past have come from family members to fill in some holes. I asked her 2 months. My mother was in hospice care. So I knew the time somewhat. And I wrote down about 50 questions. Yeah. If you see your parents starting to age, try to think of everything you can possibly ask them.
Yeah.
If you can't remember your kindergarten teacher's name, ask your mom.
I love that.
If there's a recipe you've always wondered about, ask your mom.
Yeah.
Think of practical questions. Think of emotional questions. Think of things of their childhood, medical questions. Try to start thinking of things, include them in things, because it happens a lot faster. I thought with all my questions, by the way, she did tell me I may or may not answer them, and she was correct. She would not answer all of them, but the ones that I did get answered, I'm so grateful for, and I wish I would have thought of practical. Yeah. I went straight for the for the hard heart ones.
Yeah.
So think of practical things too, because we don't have time.
No, the one of our last family gatherings that my mom was here, gosh, it's been a couple years ago. My brother put his phone on and just started
Recorded her.
Recorded
Oh my
her.
gosh, I love that.
Yeah, just started asking her questions, and she got so tickled.
I love
like
it.
just for her own self, going back. Even my dad going back in their history of like what was like. My mom said she got into fights in middle school. I'm
Your
like,
mom?
my mother. I'm like, what?
What?
I said, Mommy, are you sure? But I just even if you can take your phone
That's right.
and put it on record.
That's right. I love it.
And Nathan's really good to always ask questions. And I was telling you earlier, there's a book out and there's a lot of things out now called Mom, Tell Me Your Story or Dad, Tell Me Your Story. Or
I did story. My kids gave me Storyworth.
There you go. And to me, that is invaluable. If your kids don't necessarily want all the family heirlooms or pictures, at least they would have some kind of something to hold on to.
That's right.
Because it's like when their kids come up, well, here's what Grandma Shelley looks like. I'm not going to be called Grandma, but just for the sake of that.
Right.
I don't know what they'll let me be called. But here's what she was like. Here's what he was like. And to me, the technology we have today is so invaluable that we didn't have.
That's right. And it gives you good, because they gave me Storyworth after my mother passed. Yeah. And it gave me excellent questions to answer that I had never thought of. Things specifically about my childhood or about growing up with my family, just things I didn't think about with my mom. And like I said, I'm very blessed. My mother has 3 siblings that she's extremely close to, have filled in so many holes for me. So not everybody has that. But my mother, she did not like to talk about telling me stories.
I love that. Wow. Yeah, that's a challenge too when they don't want to open up. And some of them, maybe they didn't have such a great life.
That's right.
And it's digging up hurtful things.
Things they haven't been able to process.
It's true.
Because they did not go to therapy like our generation does. So yes, things were harder.
Yeah. So I just want to read just something I wrote down because as we kind of talk about being caught in the middle, because we've talked about, having aging parents and, us being in that middle, I'm 58 and you're early 50s.
No. Oh, thanks. I like the early 50s. No, I'm about to be 55. So I'm right in the middle.
I was going to let you bring that up. But, we're right in the middle of older parents and then kids coming up behind us. But I just wrote down that sometimes I feel so stretched thin, not just physically, emotionally, but like I can be on a conversation with my mother who needs me to help her through an issue. Maybe it's financially or her physical body. But then I have an adult child who needs me at 1 a.m. to talk through a huge issue.
Right.
And you feel like you don't have the bandwidth as a parent. And what would you say to that in your mind? Like, how did you were going through, I know your kids probably were more out of the house, but they still needed you. And yet you were running here and there and everywhere with aging parents.
Well, and one of the things you said a few minutes ago was that when your mom calls you, take it. And I vowed in my heart, and I've told everybody around me, if the area code where my parents calls, because it could be the nursing home, it could be a doctor, or if either of my children call, I take it. And some people may think it's rude. I have my phone right there, or my watch tells me that they're calling. I think we talked about this the last podcast I was on. When my kids call, even if, and I don't mean this the way it sounds, even if they're calling me because they have a problem, it is my joy to talk to them.
Yes.
It's not my joy that they're having a problem, but it's my joy to be a part of their life, to be able to take that phone call.
Right.
So I just made it a priority, and it's not a burden.
Right.
It's a purpose in me to be able to bless both ends.
That's good. That to me is why we're doing this episode, is because the Empty Nexter community, we're all in different seasons and stages. I've got friends who are literally today, as we record this, her husband is taking her daughter off to college, and she is sitting there, my daughter, they're letting their kids go. And then other people who are helping navigate their parents. I've got a really good friend who her dad passed away, but yet she's still the main caregiver for her mother. So she's trying to figure out, how do I work? How do I carry on a home yet make sure my mom's cared for? It's a huge...
And carry her mom's grief.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just be everything. Sometimes the tension feels so heavy. But if we remember that Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, which is my high school life verse, if we trust in the Lord with all our heart and lean not on our understanding and acknowledge him, he will direct our ways.
Amen.
Even in those days when we feel like I have nothing to give, but God sees it. He sees what you have done in the journey of finishing well with your parents, because I know some of your backstory with your mother. It could have gone so different.
Well, I really think therapy also helps, if I can say that.
Sure.
Because a lot of times in taking care of our parents, when we're spending that much time, sometimes the dynamic of our childhood positions can come back. We become that 12-year-old self listening, if you're taking care of your parent, even though she's the one needing the help, she's still the mother. You're still the child. That dynamic is still there. So to be your best self, if that's a hard dynamic, I highly suggest counseling.
Yeah.
Because you are not that 12-year-old self anymore.
Right.
But you can still honor your mother in that position.
That is so good. And the thing I want to remind everybody too is that he sees us. God
Amen.
he sees the struggle. He knows, he's seen the tears. I think if we just stay in a place of peace and joy and fight for that, there's going to be days where you just feel like you can't do it. Call a friend. Call somebody that's been down the road further. Like we say all the time on the episodes, we want to be looking ahead to ones that have gone ahead of us, that have done it well, and then the ones that are in it with us, but then the ones behind us. If you're having a rough day, if I'm struggling, like I can call Kelly and go, my mom is struggling so bad, my parents, I don't know what to say or what to do. I call Kelly because she navigated through that well. She came out on the other side. That's why we need each other.
We need each other. We definitely need each other. We need to keep in our frontal lobe when our children call. Are they calling to vent? Are they calling for advice?
Yeah.
They don't need us to fix all of their problems. When our parents call, are they calling to vent or are they calling to need help? What can we do for them without overstretching ourselves or causing a fight in those relationships because we've overstepped boundaries?
That is so true. I think we have to just, a lot of us too in the season we're in, I think age affords us to be a little more, I don't know what to say, the word relaxed, but a little more contemplative.
That's right. I
sit and think, wow, I do a lot of that lately, and just think through, where am I at right now and how I feel about having parents? Where am I at that are older? Where am I at with having kids that right now I'm navigating one trying to buy a house. I'm navigating another one trying to figure out where to move. And another one is waiting for her to give me a grandchild. I mean, it's all the things. If she hears this, sorry, I've just got to speak in my truth. But I just feel like, we can be all over the place.
We can.
Unless we dial it in to let the Holy Spirit help us.
Absolutely.
Like anything else, he wants to be in the middle of all this too.
He absolutely does. And he should be, because that's the only way we're going to do it well.
That's right.
And we can also ask ourselves for our parents, how will we want it done to us when it's our turn?
That is so good.
Because it's coming.
I know. And that's what's kind of like scary, sad, exciting, fun, all the feels, as they say. It's like we want to move forward in our next.
That's right.
That third act, so to speak. But it's like when you realize how much closer you're getting to those 60s, 70s, 80s, it's a little unnerving.
Yeah.
And I want my kids to not push away on me when I say, listen, guys, I really want to close this out well with you. This is what I want to do. It's just hard. You've got to keep going after those conversations. I have found the one out of all my kids that I know knows everything. He's the one that's the calmest, that can handle things well. He's probably the ones that could be, the executor of this state.
Right.
I think we need to find that one.
Absolutely.
Correct.
That's going to be fair.
Yes.
Yeah.
And very not that they're not emotional, but they can handle things in a calm way.
That's right. Because everybody grieves differently when
Yeah.
something happens.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they absolutely need to be able to
Yeah.
take that on.
Yeah. So as we wind down the episode, a few final tips that Kelly was so good to say is, and me too, is declutter regularly.
Yeah, I get in there and do it every couple of years now.
Yeah.
I make myself go back and touch. Even though I might have touched it 2 years ago, now I may feel differently about it. I may not use it anymore. Or I may say, I still love it, but not like I loved it when I thought I had to find space for it.
That's good. Me too. I'm decluttering on the daily now. I mean, especially in my closet.
Yeah.
I've got way too many clothes, and I'm like, nobody's going to need these, and it helps me clear my mind.
Yeah.
But then going through files, I mean, I'm retiring, so I'm doing that in my work life, digging through things that I've had for 15, 20 years. It's so freeing.
It is so freeing. It feels so good. I love it when I can do it. And my mother was still ordering. She was in hospice, still ordering clothes.
No, are you kidding? Wow.
She loved clothes.
Yeah.
And I did inherit that from her. But now I make myself, when I go try on clothes, I take a picture. Because how often do we buy clothes? We go home, we see ourselves in a picture of it, and we go, what were we thinking?
Exactly.
And then it sits there for 3 years until we give it away. So I try to be more proactive now.
Good. That's so good. Okay, we're going to document our wishes and information. That was the other thing. Make sure you have it documented, have all the things in place.
They have so your children have your passcodes, passwords. They can get into your bank account. They know where the insurance information is should something happen to you.
That's good.
All those things.
Yeah, that is so good. So the other thing is just make every memory special. You know, continue to fight for that. Continue to make sure that if you have to get them scrunched in there and they whine the whole time about those photos, keep doing it. Keep pouring into those kids. Keep loving your parents. And the other thing is talk to your family about what matters most.
Yeah.
Leave the legacy, whether it's practical, spiritual. Continue to keep those conversations going. To me, that is like any opportunity we can do to talk to them and leave them with some snapshot. They'll always remember it.
That's right.
Yeah.
I loved your session with Beth, and you guys were talking about your latter years being the best years.
Right.
And that's so important because now my children are grown and they have their memories of childhood. But what is my legacy going to be to them when I die? For me, the most important thing is I want to be remembered for love.
Yes.
God's love, my love. So it's very important for me to continue to transition evolve into a better person, and that legacy be more and more evident as I age.
That is so good. And you do model that. And I will say you do have very great taste in clothing.
Thank you. I did get that from my mother.
I just want to
She taught me fractions when I was a kid. If I could do a sale, if I could calculate the sale price right on the spot, then we'd get the clothes.
I love
Dear
that.
Lord, I learned fractions very well based on that.
Do I need to come over and help you declutter your closet? I mean, I'll be there. So just in closing, just remember, I wrote this down. You are doing a holy work. If you're in the middle, if you're that sandwich generation person, I don't even know, PB&J, turkey and cheese. I don't even know what kind of sandwich.
Oreo, be the cream.
Hey, ooh, I like that. Or if you're the Oreo, or you're the, I'm the double stuff.
You are double stuff. You're good stuff.
Woo woo. If you've got the parents that are requiring so much of you, if you have the kids that are needing you or they're worrying you, maybe they're not where they need to be with their spiritual life and it's causing some concern. Remember that you are in between, and how you love in this in between season is up to you.
That's right.
Like Kelly said at the beginning, she had some regrets that she did it out of what was the
obligation.
Word? Yep, obligation.
I did it out of obligation, and then I decided I wanted to do it out of joy.
Yes.
And you know, and some people know, I had a very, very, very hard relationship with my mother. So when I decided to do it out of joy, I wanted my kids to see I can love this woman.
That's good. And that's a huge testimony. they will see that. And I saw that because
Thank you.
I knew some of the story that you had with your mom.
Thank you.
So thank you for modeling it for me so well. And thank you to all the women ahead of us and the women and men that have
Absolutely
done this so well for us to see. So the next generation can come behind us and go, hey, I've learned something today. I've learned that it's okay to get frustrated in the sandwich generation that we may be in. You're caught in the middle. Not only are we caught in the middle of midlife in general, like our body's freaking out or trying to figure out
hormones.
Spoiler alert, there's an episode coming on that soon. But I'm just saying we can make it through because we have each other. And we need to bring it out in the open and not keep it hidden because there is true frustration, but it can turn into joy.
That's right. We can still thrive in the middle of this.
That's right.
And we can do it well.
That's right. Oh, okay. So as Kelly and I close it out today, we hope you've had a great time on the podcast today. And remember, whether you're dealing with attitudes or hearing aids, just do it with joy and love.
Yes.
And have a great one.